make you a Visual Studio Code superstar. So this is my guarantee. If you watch this course, you're going to be calling yourself as a Sonic coder. You don't have to watch this course because this course is already included in this video. If you want to watch this video separately, like, you totally can, and nothing is stopping you from that. But I will suggest you, like, if you don't watch this video and also this one, so you will be totally in a good shape because all of these two videos content is already available inside this video which you're currently watching right now. So now let me just talk to you about that projects. Or, you know, before we getting into the project, first of all, let me just show you where in the world you should go from this course. So if you complete this video, the current video which you're currently watching right now, so then you can jump into the Node.js course, then the Express.js course, and then MongoDB if you wanted to. But if you want to learn React.js first and all of them like a bit later, so you can totally do that, and you can just pick it right here, and you can first of all learn React.js, and then you can learn the Node.js, Express.js, and also the MongoDB as well. So now let me just show you that 100 projects which you're going to be building throughout this course. So I've created this separate playlist for that projects right here. So if I open that, and here you will find all of their projects which you're going to be building throughout this course. And it includes project for beginners, for intermediate, and also for advanced level JavaScript programmer as well. Okay, like you're going to be working with a lot of external APIs, and you are going to be writing a lot of code, and I'm going to just hurt your fingers by writing a code. Okay, so these are all the projects. So now let me just show you where in the world you will find all of the coding which you are going to be writing throughout this course, and also for all of these projects as well. So you don't have to go any further. You just have to come to my GitHub repository, like my GitHub profile, and here you will find all of their repository right here. So just click on this button, and there you will find all of their repository for different kind of courses. Okay, and now let me just show you these 100 projects right here. So I will just pin that at the top. If you didn't see that at the top, so you can just click on these repositories, and then you can search it there, and it will bring you to this repository right here. I'm like, not this one. It will bring you to this repository if you open that, and here you can see it will now include all of the coding which you are going to be writing in that 100 projects right here. So you will also get the resources like the images and all of that, and you will also get the coding for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And notice we didn't use anything else except HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I will highly recommend you to at least watch my HTML and CSS course. But if you are feeling comfortable and you don't want to watch that course, so feel free to skip that, and then you will be able to watch this JavaScript course right here. Okay, so now let me just show you all of the code which you are going to be writing this course. So here this repository is currently private, but I'm going to make that public once I publish this course on my YouTube channel. And here you can see the beginner section, then we have this GSAP section, then we have like all of these sections right here, and I'm going to make that in order. You don't have to worry about all of them for now, but if you open that, and it will now give us all of the basic stuff like primitive data types, control structure, and all of that. So if I just open this folder, so each folder will include the what we call it, the exercise, and also the live coding. So we are going to be doing both of them throughout this course. Like we are going to be performing the live coding as well, and we are going to be also now gives us all of the basic stuff like primitive data types, controls, and I'm going to make that in now. And here you can see you are going to be writing this code. So feel free to skip that, and then you will be able to watch this JavaScript course right here. Okay, so now let me just show you all of the code which you are going to be writing this course. So here, this repository is currently private, but I'm going to make that public once I publish this course on my YouTube channel. And here you can see the beginner section, then we have this GSAP section, then we have like all of these sections right here. And I'm going to make that in order. You don't have to worry about all of them for now, but if you open that, and it will now give us all of the basic stuff like primitive data types, control structure, all of that. So if I just open this folder, so each folder will include the what we call it, the exercise, and also the live coding. So we are going to be doing both of them throughout this course. Like we are going to be performing the live coding as well, and we are going to be also performing the challenges as well. So I'm going to just open this exercise. I'm going to just open that. And here you can see, first of all, I'm going to just give you some sort of instruction. Let me just zoom in a bit. First of all, I'm going to just give you some sort of instruction, and then you have to write your own code for that. And here is the solution of that course. So you'll have to watch this course in that manner. If you want to become a real JavaScript developer, so you have to perform all of the exercises, which I'm going to give you throughout this course. So yeah, I guess that was it about all of the setup. So before we getting into the actual content of this course, first of all, I want you to know, like, this course is like my hard work. I put a lot of efforts into this course, and I don't have anyone else to write a code, and also to make a thumbnails, and also to make a slides, and also to edit my content. So I do that all by myself. So just imagine like how much time I put into this course. So I will highly appreciate that if you subscribe to this channel, and also to give a start to my GitHub repository. So I will highly appreciate that. So if you don't want to do that, so you don't have to do that, but I'm just saying, like, I put my heart and soul into this course, and I will love to see all of your thoughts in the comment section. So if you like this course, and I don't know if this course changed your life in some manner, so you can post that in the comment section. Or if you don't like some part of this course, so you can also post that in the comment section, and I'm going to just do my best to improve this course, okay, or improve my upcoming courses which are coming. So yeah, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, so feel free to do that, and if you don't, so that's completely okay. So I will see you in the course in a few seconds. So before we getting into the actual content of this course, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, is there what in the world is this technology which you are currently learning, and why you should care about that? So this definition is just a simple definition of a JavaScript, but trust me, JavaScript is more than that, and throughout the course you are going to be learning all about that other stuff which I'm not going to be mentioning right now. So JavaScript is a versatile and widely used programming language that plays a crucial role in web development specifically, and it enables developers to create interactive and dynamic elements within a web pages, something which you don't have to worry about for now, and enhancing the user experience by adding functionality that respond to the user action, something which you also don't have to worry about for now. And JavaScript is primarily executed in the web browser, something which we are going to be also exploring throughout this course, but it also uses the other environment like server-side scripting, Node.js, and we are going to be also covering that in this course. So for now, I just want you to keep in mind, like, JavaScript is a programming language, and it plays a crucial role in web development. So I want you to just keep that in mind for now, but throughout the course we are going to be learning all of that stuff, like what in the world is a server-side scripting, and what is a browser, and execution, and all of that kind of stuff, like functionality and response to the user and all of that. But you don't have to worry about any of these stuff for now. Okay, so that was just a quick definition of what a JavaScript is and how it works. So now let's start our conversation by where in the world we are going to be writing stuff for now. Okay, so that was just a quick definition of what a JavaScript is and how it works. That stuff, like what in the world is a server-side scripting, and what is a browser, and execution, and all of that kind of stuff, like now I just want you to keep in mind like JavaScript is a programming language and it plays a crucial role in web development. So I want you to just keep that in mind for now. But throughout the course, we are going to be learning all of that stuff, like what in the world is a server-side scripting and what is a browser and execution and all of that kind of stuff, like functionality and response to a user and all of that. But you don't have to worry about any of these stuff for now. Okay, so that was just a quick definition of what a JavaScript is and how it works. So now let's start our conversation by where in the world we are going to be writing our JavaScript code. So there are a lot of places where you can run and write your JavaScript code, but I just choose these few of them right here. So we are not going to be using any of them, which I'm showing you right now, but we are going to be making our own setup and all of that in a second. So now let me just show you places where you can write your simple code and you can test the result of that code in a second. So the first one in my list is codesandbox.com, and so here you can create just an index.js file and you can place your JavaScript code and it will just work like so. Okay, so this is the first one. The second one is that online VS Code right here, like the browser version of the VS Code, and I'm going to just create a file and I'm going to just create like I'm going to just provide some sort of, you don't have to do that by the way, I'm just doing it because I want to show you all of that, but you don't have to. Okay, so I'm going to just search for JavaScript and I'm going to just select that, and here you can see if I just pass this code, I can run this code in my terminal and I can do whatever I want to do with that. So this is the second place, and now the third place in my list is this code pen right here. So you can play around with these layouts right here, like you can make it like so, or to make it to the left or to the middle or something like that. So you can write your doc type HTML right here, you can write your CSS right here, and you can write your JavaScript right here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just place this code right here, and it will now open. It will give us the result of that code right here inside a console somewhere, and here you can see it is now giving us that hello world right here inside a console. So that was just 3 places, and you can also write your JavaScript code in some sort of empty blank page or in also a different kind of browser, but you just have to right click on somewhere and then just click on this.
Hey, still thinking about joining the 30-day Python using AI bootcamp by AI for Techies? So what if in 30 days
on somewhere and then just click on this inspect area, and here you can see it will use this elements tab, and then I want you to just click on this console right here, something which we are going to be diving into in a great detail in this course, but I'm just showing you where to find that. Okay, so I'm going to just place it right here and I'm going to hit enter, and here you can see it will also give us that same result right here. So there was just a few places where I don't write my JavaScript code, but I just kind of want to show you like there are a lot of places where you can run and test the result of your coding, like specific JavaScript coding in the browser as well. So that's that. So there was about a few places where you can run your JavaScript code. So now let's just make a setup for our coding journey, and then we will be able to write our code and also test our code. So for this course, I'm going to be using a Visual Studio Code right here, and you are totally free to choose whichever kind of editor you like. So you can use like Sublime, Atom, JetBrains products and all of that kind of stuff. But in my case, I'm going to be using a Visual Studio Code editor right here. And as I said, I have an entire course on that. So trust me, if you take that course will make you a coding superstar. Anyways, that's other story. So I happen to be using a Windows right here. So here you can see it will automatically detect my operating system right here. So if you're using like a Mac OS or Windows or Linux, so you can also download VS Code for that as well. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to just click on this button. Oh, you know, I already installed that, so I don't have to. You just have to click on this button and then just hit next, 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 and it will download and install it in your machine, and then you will be able to run your code inside your VS Code. Okay, so the next thing which I want you to do is that I want you to use this Google Chrome for this course. You can choose whichever kind of browser you like, and you can also choose whichever kind of coder you like, but don't tell me later like, Hussein, something is not working in my browser and something's not working in my VS Code. I mean, like, I will still help you, but that would be a bit bad. Like, I'm recommending you to use these products and you are using something else, so this is not cool, you know. Anyway, so I want you to download and install both of them, and once you are done, then I want you to create a folder somewhere right here. So in my case, I'm going to just create my folder inside my desktop right here. You can give any name you want, but in my case, I'm going to just give a name of like full stack JS right here. I'm going to right click on him and I'm going to open that in my Visual Studio Code right here. Okay, so it will now open that folder in my VS Code right in here. So I'm going to also show you that extension and all of that kind of stuff, which I'm going to be using throughout this course. So I want you to just click on, and by the way, your code editor will not look the same just like mine because I've changed a lot of stuff in my VS Code right here. So first of all, I want you to just click on this extension area right here. You don't have to install this one, you don't have to install these. So if you want to use this theme, so I'm going to highly recommend you to use this GitHub theme right here. If you just have to just search for like GitHub theme and then click on this install button, and it will just install it in your VS Code. You don't have to install these, and you can install this JavaScript snippet right here, but you don't have to. And you will also install it in your VS Code. You don't have to install these, and you can install this JavaScript snippet right here, but you don't have to. And you will also have to install this live server, and I'm assuming that if you're coming from my HTML and CSS course, so now you know enough about this live server, so that's other story. So I want you to just install this theme if you want to install it. So this one is optional, and this one is not optional. You have to install that for this course, and you can also install a prettier to make your code a bit pretty. So I will also recommend you to install this one as well, and for icons, you can also install this one right here, or you can install a material icon if you wanted to. Okay, so once that's done, so I want you to just create a file right here, and give them any name you want, but I'm going to just give a name like index.html right right here. And now if I want to create a JavaScript file, so the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to just create this file right here. You can give them any name you want, but you have to write this .js extension at the end. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write like app.js right here, and now if I hit enter, and here you can see it is also giving us these icons right here. Like this file will include the JavaScript code, and this file will include the HTML code right here. Okay. So now let's learn about how in the world we are going to be writing our JavaScript code inside our VS Code right here. So I'm going to just hide that top. You don't have to, because I'm just hiding it for this video purposes. So I'm going to just write my doc type HTML. And if I just write then it will now use us this doc type HTML boilerplate right here. If you don't know how to generate that, so you can take my HTML and CSS course, which is totally free. Okay, so the next thing which you have to do is that we want to just save this file. I'm going to right click on him, and I'm going to just open this file with the live server right here. So it will now open my file with the live server. So now let's just wait for that. And here you can see my file is now live. Like my file is now open with this port right here. I'm going to just right click on him, and I'm going to just click on this inspect area one more time. And then I'm going to just click on this console, and here I'm going to just refresh that. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write a little bit of JavaScript right here. So I'm going to just write a script opening tag and script closing tag, and it will allow us to write our JavaScript right in here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write alert in this case, alert, and I'm going to just pass like hello, my name is Hossein. Okay, so I'm going to save my file, and here you can see it will now use this pop-up box right here, which will say like hello, my name is Hossein right here. I'm going to click on this OK, and that was our first line of JavaScript. You don't have to worry about that because we are not going to be using this alert anywhere. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write console.log, and if you want to log something to the console, something which we're going to be diving into in a really great depth, and now if you want to log something to the console, so we are going to be just writing like some strings, so you just have to write whatever I'm writing right here. So I'm going to just write like Hossein. You can write your own name if you want to, or you can just say like hello Hossein. Okay, just like that. Come on, Hossein. And now if you save that, and here you can see it will now give us like hello and Hossein right here. You can unduck that. I'm going to just click on these three buttons, and you can just push that to the bottom, or you can push that to the left, or unduck that to the left. And I'm going to just click on this unduck, so it will now give us like so. Okay, so everything is working just fine, but we are not going to be writing our JavaScript code inside this HTML file right here. We are going to be writing our JavaScript code inside this separate file which we've created a second ago, inside this JS code right, like app.js file right here. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this line of code, and I'm going to just place it right here. Okay, so if I save this file, and if I save this file, and now let's just check him out, and here you can see it will not give us anything. Why is that? Because we write our valid JavaScript code right. Like everything is okay inside this file, but we didn't attach or we didn't link this app.js file with this index.html file. In CSS, if you just want to write our external CSS, so you will just write a link tag, but in JavaScript, we are not going to be using that link tag. We are going to be using something called, we just have to write a script in this case, and here you can see my VS Code is already suggesting this right here. So I'm going to just click on this one, and this is the syntax of writing. I'm like linking our JavaScript file with our index.html file right here. So I'm going to just hold control and hit space, and here you can see it will now give us every single thing which we have right here inside this current directory. So I'm going to just choose this app.js file right here. Okay, so I'm going to save my file, and now let's just check him out, and here you can see it will now give us like hello Hossein, and we can write all of our JavaScript code right in here. So here throughout the course we are going to be writing all of our JavaScript, and here we are going to be testing the result of our coding right here inside our console. Okay, so this is how we are going to be making a setup for our code. And by the way, I forgot to show you one thing. If you want to work with that prettier, so you just have to open your settings right here. So if you want to open your settings, so you just have to hold control and hit comma. Okay, so I want you to just hold control and hit comma, and here you can see it will now give us all of their settings right here. So I want you to just type like format, and here you can see it will now give us this format right here. So I want you to just click on this one, which will just say like format on save. So I want you to just check that, and you can also choose your default one, which will just say like format on save. So I want you to just check that, and you can also choose your default format. Okay, so here you can see it will now give us like, you just have to write like this default format, and then it will give us this pop-up box right here. So here you can see we have different kind of extensions right here, but in this case we are going to be just choosing this prettier right here. So I want you to just click on this one, and whenever you save your code, like if I just write write some sort of code, if I just write like console.log, and if you just write like hello, and we provide like a lot of spaces and stuff, and we forgot to include this colon or something like that, so it will also convert our single string to double string and all of that. So it will just make our code pretty once we save our file. And here you can see our code is now looking totally pretty. And if you're wondering like where in the world we are getting this hello from, so I'm using this extension. You don't have to install that if you don't want it to, but I'm using this code, this console ninja right here. So that's why I'm getting this result right here inside my VS Code right here. But throughout the course, you are not going to be getting this result right here. Instead, you're going to be getting the result right here inside a console right here. Okay. So that's that. So that was it about the setup. You are not going to be getting this result right here. Instead, you're going to be have to install that if you don't want it to, but I'm using this code, this console ninja right here. So that's why I'm getting this result right here inside my VS Code right here. But throughout the course, you are not going to be getting this result right here. Instead, you're going to be getting the result right here inside a console right here. Okay. So that's that. So that was it about the setup of this course. So now let's learn the first topic of this course. Looking toward right here. But in this case, we are going to be just choosing this prettier right here. So I want you to just click on this one. And whenever you save your code, like if I just write some sort of a code, if I just write like console.log, and if you just write like hello, and we provide like a lot of spaces and stuff, and we forgot to include this colon or something like that. So it will also convert our single string to double string and all of that. So it will just make our code pretty once we save our file. And here you can see our code is now looking totally pretty. And if you're wondering like where in the world we are getting this hello from, so I'm using this extension .js. And by the way, you can give any name you want, like you can give name of like banana.js or orange or Jose, like your own name. You can give any name you want, but in my case I'm going to just go with app. But remember, this .js extension is very, very important because it will tell our file that we are currently writing our scripts inside this file. Okay, so which means like we are writing our JavaScript code inside this file, so you have to write that. Okay, I'm going to hit enter right here, and let me just hide that activity bar from there. Anyways, so now we create our two files right here. The first one is index.html and the second one is app.js. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write my doc type HTML, and I'm assuming that if you're watching this course, you already know HTML and CSS. So in HTML and CSS, I'm going to go a bit fast. I'm going to give a name of like console or something like that, and I'm going to hide this head area from there. Okay, so I'm going to just write h1 of like full stack JavaScript. Let me just save my file, right click on them and open it with the live server. So it will now open my file in the live server so that we can see our changes and we will get our live reload. Okay, so it is live server, so it will now open my file JavaScript. Let me just save my file, right click on them and open it like console or something like that, and I'm going to in CSS. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write my doc type HTML, and I'm assuming that if you're watching this course, you already know HTML and CSS. So in HTML and CSS, I'm going to go a bit fast. I'm going to give a name of like console or something like that. And I'm going to hide this head area from there. Okay, so I'm going to just write h1 of like full stack JavaScript. Let me just save my file, right click on them and open it with the live server. So it will now open my file in the live server so that we can see our changes and we will get our live reload. Okay, so it is launching and there we go. In the live server so that we can see our changes and we will get our live reload. Okay, so it is launching and there we go. And I'm going to hide this head area from there. Okay, so I'm going to just write h1 of like full stack JavaScript. Let me just save my file, right click on them and open it with the live server. So it will now open my file in the live server so that we can see our changes and we will get our live reload. Okay, so it is launching and there we go. Okay, so here you can see we have our full stack JavaScript right here. So now let's learn about how we are going to be writing our JavaScript inside this file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just remove this h1, and here I'm going to just write script and open it and close it right here. So inside the script opening and closing tag, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write a little bit of code which you don't have to worry about for now. Later in this course, we are going to be learning every single thing about JavaScript, but for now, I'm going to just write alert and I'm going to just say like hello Hussein. Okay, I'm going to just save my file, and here you can see this pop-up box right here, which is saying hello Hussein right here. I'm going to hit OK, and that was it. That was just our first JavaScript code right here. So next thing which I'm going to do is that I'm going to write console.log of hello world in this case. I'm going to save my file, and now inside here I'm going to just right click on them and click on this inspect area, and it will now open this what do you call it, developer tools right here. So I'm going to duck there to the right, And here, I'm going to just click on this console right here. I guess probably in your case, it would be like this. Let me just show you that. In your case, it would be looking like this. So you can just duck that to anywhere you want. So just click on these three dots and you can duck that to a right, to the left, or like you can unduck that if you want to, and you can make it like a whole bigger screen if you want to. But in my case, I'm going to just click on these three dots and duck it to the right. And now here, you can see we have this console. I way zoomed in. Sometime if you way zoomed in, so you would not see that console, you can either click on these three buttons or these two arrows and click on this console. And here you can see we are now getting this hello world right here. Or you can just hold control and go back in your mouse or zoom in. And then you'll probably see all of that stuff. I'm going to make it a bit bigger so you guys can see everything a bit better. And here you can see we're now getting our hello world right here inside a console. I'm going to show you what this console will do for us. And there are a lot of things which you have to learn about console. But first of all, we have to learn about how we are going to be writing our JavaScript. So that was just a basic way to write your JavaScript, but this is not the best way to write your JavaScript code. Why? Because later in this course, or maybe probably in the upcoming courses, we are going to be writing a lot of JavaScript. So for that, we are not going to be writing this script opening tag and script closing tag, because this is kind of like a inline CSS. Like whenever you're writing inline CSS, so I already mentioned that in my HTML and CSS course. So you would have to write all the stuff in one line in one page. So that will make it clear. You know what, let me just give you an example. Let's suppose we have a header. Inside this header we have a navigation, then we have a UL li. Inside this li we have a. And let's suppose we want them to be like 5 or 5 would be fine. And here you can see we have our HTML code right here in one place and JavaScript in one place. And later if you also want to provide a CSS, so that would be suck. And here you can see this is just a basic HTML right here, and this is just one line of JavaScript which is not doing anything but just logging this hello world to the console, and things are looking cluttered. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just remove that coding from here, and I'm going to also remove the script tag from here as well. Okay, so let me just zoom in a bit, and now I'm going to open my sidebar right here, and here you can see we've created this app.js file right here. And if I just write that same alert right here, alert of like something to show or something like that, I'm going to save my file, and let's just refresh it, and here you can see nothing is happening. Why? Now we successfully create our file right here. We write our code inside this file, but we didn't link this app.js file with this index.html file. So if you want to link this app.js file with this index.html file, so for that we have to just write this one line of code. So we have to write script, and if you're using a Visual Studio Code editor, so here you can see we have this autocorrect suggestions right here. So I'm going to just click on this src one, and here you can see you just have to write that. And now inside this src or inside this source, here you have to provide your source right here. I'm going to hold control and hit space, so it will now give us every single thing which we currently have inside our repository. So inside our repository we have this app.js file and index.html file. I'm going to just click on this app.js file. I'm going to save my file, and here you can see we're now getting this something to show right here inside our console. I'm going to just click on this app.js file. I'm going to save my file, and here you can see we're now getting this something to show right here inside our console. I'm going to click on this OK, so which means like everything is working. The way we expect him to work. I'm going to remove that alert from there. And I'm going to just write hello world of like console right here. I'm going to just save my file, and here you can see we're now getting this hello world inside our console right here. So everything is working the way we expect him to work. But throughout the course, we're going to be writing our code just like that. I'm going to just make that side by side so you guys can see everything a bit better. I'm going to click on these three dots and unduck there first of all, and let me just push that to the right here. Okay, so that's way zoomed in. Let me just push that right here. We're going to be writing our JavaScript code at the left side, and we will see the result at the right side. So that was just it about how we are going to be linking our JavaScript file into our HTML and how we are going to be writing our JavaScript code. So we've been writing this console log for a lot of time now, and I'm going to just remove that, and let me just tell you what in the world is that console log and why would you need that. It doesn't matter if you are a beginner or advanced level programmer, you will need this console.log all the time. Like you will work with this console.log 90, not 90, but maybe 80 or 85% of your time as a developer. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write console, and this console is an object. You don't have to worry about what an object is at this point of the course. Later in this course, we are going to be learning what an object is, how you're going to be creating your objects, function, all of that kind of stuff. But for now, you just have to remember that console is an object, and inside this object, we have a lot of methods. So I'm going to just write dot, and then in this case, I'm going to just, here you can also see like it is now giving us the preview of all of these these methods right here. So we have console log, console error, warn, inf, assert, and clear, all of them right here. So these all are methods inside this console object. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the first one, which is log, and anything I write inside this log will show up right in here. So let's suppose if you want to write some sort of a strings, you don't have to worry about what a string is. So in this case, I'm going to just write opening quote and closing quote, and inside this quotes, I'm going to just write like my own name, Hussein Web Dev. Okay, I'm going to save my file, and here you can see inside the console, we are now getting this Hussein Web Dev right here. If you just remove that, and if you just write console log of 2 and plus 2, save our file. Here you can see it is now giving us 4. We can write like object. You don't have to worry about what an object is. I'm going to just write name of, I don't know, Alex. I'm going to save that. And here you can see it will now give us that name as object, and it will now show up right in here. So this console is an object, and inside this object, we have a lot of different kind of methods. So I'm going to just give you a quick test of a few of them, but not all of them, because it is an object. And inside here you can see it will, you don't have to worry about what an object is. I'm going to just write name of, you can see it is now giving us 4. We can write like object. You don't have to worry about what an object is. I'm going to just write name of, I don't know, Alex. I'm going to save that. And here you can see it will now give us that name as object, and it will now show up right in here. So this console is an object, and inside this object, we have a lot of different kind of methods. So I'm going to just give you a quick test of a few of them, but not all of them, because that would be suck. It will waste a lot of your time to show you every single thing about a console. So if I hold control and hit space, it will now give us the preview of all of these methods right here. So I'm going to just choose this, I don't know, one right here. So it will now give us a warning. So I am going to just write like, this is a warning. I'm going to save my file, and here you can see it will now give us that same message, but with different kind of color right here, like a warning color. We can also write a, what do we call it, error if you wanted to. We can do a lot of stuff, but one of my favorite one, which a lot of people don't use, but I use it all the time, is console.table. And inside this table, you have to specify an object, something which we are going to be learning later in this course. So I'm going to just write name of Hussein, and I'm going to just provide like, I don't know, edge of 20 maybe, or yeah, that would be fine. I'm going to save my file, and here you can see it will now give us their data as a table right here. So name will be Hussein, edge will be 20, and you can specify how many you want. I'm going to remove that, and there are a lot of things which you can do. Let me just write console log of like hello world right here. I'm going to duplicate that like, I don't know, 4 times. I'm going to save my file, and let's suppose if I just write console.clear, so it will just clear out the screen. So I'm going to save my file, and here you can see it will now clear out the screen. And let's suppose if I just copy these 2, and underneath this clear, I'm going to place it. So what do you think will happen? So if I save my file, it will now give us the clear and hello world 2 times right here. Why is that? Like, aren't we clearing over screen right here? Well, it will clear out everything which is above this console.clear. It will not clear out anything which is underneath that. I don't want to confuse you. You don't even have to worry about that. I'm going to just remove all of this coding and save my file. And here you can see everything is gone. So the next thing which I want to talk to you about is comments in JavaScript. So what in the world are comments, and how you're going to be creating your own comments? So comments are those code which is ignored by our compiler, which means like our code will not work, but we can see our code. And we use comments for notes, or maybe in some situation we would want to test our code. So for some reason we would want to comment out our code. So let me just give you an example of that. If you want to write a comment, you just have to write 2 forward slashes, and you can write anything you want. So let's suppose if I just write anything, and if I save my file, nothing is happening. We are not getting any errors, we are not getting any warnings or anything like that. And let's suppose if I just remove that and save my file, and here I hide that, what do you call it, and that errors right here, that's because of this Firefox error which you're seeing right here. Come on, where is that? Yeah, this Firefox error, so that's why I comment this out. You don't have to do that, by the way. I'm just doing that for recording purposes. And here you can see if I just write this gibberish, so it will not give us like, this gibberish is not defined. You can't write your gibberish inside this file. This is a JavaScript file, not an HTML file. So let's suppose if you just want to comment this line out and save our file, and here you can see that error is gone. Okay, and we can do whatever you want to do with that. So let me just save that file, and this error is, I don't know where is this error coming from. Cannot read a property of undefined Firefox or something like that. For now, I'm going to just hide this error right here, and later I will unhide that. For this section, I'm going to hide it anyways. So let's suppose if you have some sort of other code like console log of hello world right here, I'm going to just write console log of hello world. I'm going to save my file. You already know it will now give us hello world inside a console. But later, if you just want to comment this line out, so we will just put our cursor right here. I'm going to hold control and hit /. And here you can see it will now just comment this line out, and I'm going to save my file, and nothing is showing right here inside a console. Why? That's because our code is now currently commented, and our code will not be compiled by our compiler. So if our code is not compiled by our compiler, so which means like nothing is going on. So this is just a simple text right here. This is not actual code. This is just a simple text, and you can write anything you want. Like, this is just a simple text, period. Save my file, nothing is happening right here. So now let me just show you the shortcut for writing that console log. So you don't have to write this console.log and something right here. Instead, you can either write log, and then you have to select the second one, and then here you can write anything you want. Or you can use this shortcut, which is a CLG, and throughout the course, I'm going to be using this CLG. If I hit tab, and here you can see it will just auto-complete it for me. You just have to either write log, and then select the second one and hit enter. It will auto-complete your console log, or you can write CLG and hit tab, and here you can see it will also write a console log for you. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write a comment for myself like, CLG or console.log, and log, and select the second one, and it will also give us console.log. Okay, so this is how we are going to be writing a comments throughout the course, and that was it about a console in JavaScript. So that was it about the consoles and comments in JavaScript. So now let's learn about something called variables. There we go. So what in the world is variable, and why you should care about learning variables in the first place? So what is variables. A quantity which value can be changed during the execution of the program is called variable. And you can say like a variable is just a box where we store data, because later if you want to reuse that data or maybe change the data, so we can totally do that. So now we are going to be creating a box where we are going to be storing our data, some sort of data. But before we do that, first of all, I'm going to write a pseudocode. So what in the world is a pseudocode? A pseudocode is a code which is used for just implementation purposes, like just for a diagram or something like that, but it will not work. I'm going to make that a bit bigger so you guys can see everything a bit better. The first thing which you have to do, like whenever we are creating a variable, first of all, we have to write a reserved keyword. So we are going to be either writing a var or the let or the const keyword, which I'm going to show you in a second. And then we have to write some sort of a name for our variable. So we would have to give some sort of a name to our variable, and finally the type of value which we're going to be storing inside our variable. So this is how you're going to be creating a variable in JavaScript. First of all, you have to write some sort of a result keyword like either var, const, or let. Then you have to give some sort of a name to your variable, then store the value which you want to store, like I don't know, strings or booleans or numbers or anything you want to store. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just write you can either write a let keyword, you can either write a var keyword or a const keyword. But let me just say that a var result keyword cannot be used that much often. Like you will never find any developer nowadays using a var result keyword, but you will find old code bases which are using this var result keyword. Okay, so I'm going to just remove them, and in this case I want to declare my variable using the let keyword. Okay, so I'm going to just write a let result keyword, then you have to give some sort of a name to your variable. You can give any name you want, but in my case I'm going to just write name right here. So this is how we are going to be declaring our variable, but we didn't assign any value to this variable, so I'm going to just remove that and declared variable. So this is how we are going to be declaring our variable. So I'm going to just log that to the console like name, and now let me just save that, and here you can see inside the console we are now getting undefined. Why? Because currently we are not storing any value inside this variable, so that's why our variable is undefined by default. Like if you didn't specify any value to your variable, so your variable will have the value of undefined by default. So let's suppose if you want to provide some sort of a value to that, and by the way, we are going to be learning about values throughout this entire course. So we are going to be learning about objects, we are going to be learning about functions, even we are going to be learning a lot of stuff. But in this case, let's suppose if you want to just store some sort of a number inside this variable, so I'm going to just write equal to sign first of all, and then I don't know the number you want to store. You can store like 5,000 if you want to, but in my case I'm going to just store 5. I'm going to save my file, and here you can see we are now getting this 5 right here inside the console. And let's suppose if you want to provide a string, we are going to be learning about string shortly, but currently let me just write my own name like Hussein Web Dev. I'm going to just save my file, and here you can see it is now giving us Hussein Web Dev right here inside the console. So this is how you're going to be declaring a variable, or not just declaring, this is how we're going to be declaring a variable, and this is how we are going to be assigning a value to our variable. Okay, so you know what, I'm going to just remove that, and this is how we are going to be declaring our variable. And now let me just assign value, come on, ASSIGN, assign value to your variable. So let's suppose if you want to assign some sort of a value to your variable at one place, so you can also do that. So now let me just create a new variable. I'm going to give a name of like I don't know, banana or something like that, BANANA. It doesn't even matter, the name doesn't even matter. And now let's suppose if you want to assign value to this variable, this is how we are going to be declaring our variable. And now let's suppose if you want to assign value to this banana variable, so we are going to be first of all writing the banana name, like the name of the variable, then we're going to be writing a space equal to, and then you can store any name you want. But in my case I'm going to just write string of banana and now I'm going to just copy this banana from there, and now let me just log that, and I am going to just save my file, and here you can see we're now getting banana right here inside the console. So this is how we're going to be declaring a variable, and this is how we're going to be assigning a value to that variable. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about the conventions of writing a variables and the things which you cannot do inside a variable. So obviously you already know that anytime you want to create a variable, first of all you're going to be either writing a let result keyword or the const result keyword or the var result keyword. But in my case I'm going to go with a let. I'm going to be either writing a let result keyword or the const result keyword or the var result keyword. But in my case I'm going to go with a let result keyword in this case, and or the const result keyword or the var result keyword. But in my case I'm going to go with a let result keyword in this case, and I'm going to just write, like, let's suppose if I want to give a name of like let's suppose if I want to give my variable the name of like const, let's suppose. So I'm going to just write not const, but I guess I'm going to just write a var result. If I want to give my let result keyword in this case, and I'm going to just write the const result keyword So obviously you already know that anytime you want to create a variable, first of all, you're going to be either writing a let result keyword or the const result keyword or the while result keyword. But in my case, I'm going to go with a let result keyword in this case, and I'm going to just write, like, let's suppose if I want to give a name of like, let's suppose if I want to give my variable the name of like const, let's suppose. So I'm going to just write not const, but I guess I'm going to just write a while result keyword right here, and I'm going to just store the value of like a variable. And what do you think will be the result? Like, it is already giving us this errors right here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to just place this a variable right here. So I'm going to save my file, and here you can see it is now giving anything. It is giving us this warning right here, this error to be precise. I'm going to just hide that. Come on. And here you can see it is now giving us like uncaught syntax error and expected token var found. So which means like you cannot provide a result keyword as a name to your variable. Like you cannot write if statement, you cannot write what do you call it? And throughout the course, I'm going to be also showing you all of the results which you need to know. You cannot write like a for result keyword, you cannot write a class result keyword, it will give you an error. So that was the first thing which you have to keep in mind. Anytime you want to create a variable, you cannot write the name as a result keyword. This is a big no-no. And let me just remove that var from here, and I'm going to just change the variable name to like something else, like I don't know, my own name. Let's suppose if I want to provide my own name, so I'm going to just write Hossein, and if I just write space and web dev, let's suppose if I just log that to a console like Hossein web dev. It will give us an error. Why is that? Because our JavaScript will think like we are now declaring our variable at this point. So what in the world are we doing in this point?
Hi, I'm Jared, and I use Bittrex 24 to manage projects because it gives me choice.
Video here. And after each lesson, I'm going to give you a bunch of exercises that you can do on your own to practice the skills that we learned. In total, this course will have over 250 exercises. So with that said, let's get started. Before we begin, if something in this course is not working properly, make sure to check the first comment below the video for a list of solutions. I'm going to be doing this course on Windows, but the steps are the same if you're using a Mac. We're going to start from the very basics of JavaScript and build our way up step by step. First of all, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a technology that we use to create websites. A website is like youtube.com or amazon.com. It's how we access YouTube and Amazon on our computer. If we were using a phone, we usually use an app, but on our computer, we use a website. So there's actually 3 technologies that we use to create websites: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Each of these technologies has a specific purpose when creating a website. HTML creates the content of a website. It creates all the buttons, the text, and the images. CSS changes the appearance of the website. By adding CSS, we can make our website look nice. And finally, JavaScript makes our website interactive. So if we only have HTML and CSS, and we click one of these buttons, our website doesn't do anything. But once we add JavaScript, we can make our website do something when we click a button, such as add a product to our cart or create an order. So this course is focused on JavaScript. If you want to learn HTML and CSS in more detail, I have a full course just like this one that you can find in the video description. Let's get started with JavaScript. The first thing we need to do is to install a piece of software called a web browser. A web browser lets us view websites that we create in this course. The most popular web browser for web development is Google Chrome, so I recommend using that. If you don't have Google Chrome, you can open the default web browser on your computer. For Windows, it's Microsoft Edge, and for Mac, it's Safari. Type in google.com at the top and press enter. Search for Google Chrome. Click the result. We're going to start by learning what exactly is JavaScript and how does it work. The easiest way to understand JavaScript is we're basically giving instructions to a computer, and then the computer follows our instructions. I find the best way to learn this is to jump in and give it a try. So first, let's open Google Chrome. Next, we're going to click at the top here and type supersimple.dev/js-basics and press enter. And now we'll learn how to js-super. Next, we're going to click at the top here and type supersimple.dev/. Let's open Google Chrome. Is to jump in and computer, and then the computer. The easiest way to understand JavaScript is we're basically giving instructions to a computer, and then the computer follows our instructions. I find the best way to learn this is to jump in and give it a try. So first, let's open Google Chrome. Next, we're going to click at the top here and type supersimple.dev/js-basics and press enter. And now we'll learn how to give our computer some instructions to follow. To do that, we're going to go to a blank area of the web page. We're going to right-click, click Inspect, and then click the Console tab. Now, if your console doesn't show up at the bottom like this, you can click these three dots here, and then select this icon. Okay, so inside the console, we can give some instructions for our computer. Let's learn our first instruction. We're going to type here, and we're going to type alert, open bracket, single quote, hello, single quote, close bracket, and semicolon. Make sure to type this out exactly as I have it here. In JavaScript, if you don't type things out correctly, it won't work. So this is an instruction to create a pop-up with the text hello inside. To get the computer to follow our instruction, we can just press enter. And as you can see, the computer does exactly what we tell it to do. It creates a pop-up with the text hello inside. Now let's press OK. And let's give another instruction to the computer. So we're going to type here again, and we're going to type alert again, open bracket, single quote, but this time we're going to type a different message in the pop-up. If we press enter, the computer does exactly what we tell it to do, and it creates a pop-up with the text good job inside. And that's basically the main idea behind JavaScript. We're giving instructions to a computer, and then the computer follows our instructions. So note that we can open and use this console on any website. We're just using supersimple.dev as an example.
I've been using Grammarly for 3 years, and I can't imagine my work life without it. Grammarly is an AI writing partner, and unlike other AI...
Let's press OK, and we're going to learn some terminology, or naming. The instructions we give to our computer, these instructions are called code. When we press enter and the computer follows our instructions, this is called running the code. Now, there are many different languages we can use to write code, called programming languages. It's similar to how we have many human languages that we can use to communicate. Some examples of programming languages are JavaScript, Python, and Java. So here, we're writing our code using the JavaScript programming language, so we call this JavaScript code. Now that we understand the basic terminology, let's look at some more examples of what we can do with JavaScript code. Another thing we can do is math. Let's go back to the console and type here, and we're going to type 2 plus 2. So this is an instruction, or code, that tells the computer to do some math, to calculate 2 plus 2. When we press enter, the computer follows our instruction, or runs this code, calculates 2 plus 2, and gives us the result, which is 4. Let's do another example. We're going to type 10 minus 3, and press enter to run this code. Again, the computer does this math, calculates the result, and gives us 7. So as you can see, JavaScript can do many different things, like create pop-ups and do math. Let's look at one more example of what JavaScript can do. We're going to go to the bottom and type out this code. Document.body.inner capital HTML equals single quote, hello, single quote, and semicolon. Make sure to write this out exactly as I have it here, with the dots and the capital letters, because JavaScript is case sensitive. Let's press enter to run this code. What this code does is that it removes everything on the page and replaces it with the text hello. In this example, we use JavaScript to modify the web page. Modifying the web page is one of the most important features of JavaScript, and we're going to be using this feature throughout this course. And that's the basic. Of JavaScript. We're giving instructions to a computer. These instructions are called code, and then the computer follows our instructions. This is called running the code. And also, don't worry about memorizing all this code. You can find a copy of all the code that we write in this course in the video description. Now that we understand the basics of JavaScript, let's learn more about the JavaScript language itself. If we take a look at this code, alert and hello, you might be wondering what the brackets and the quote mean. All of these characters have a special meaning in the language. This is something called syntax. Syntax are the rules that we have to follow when using a programming language like JavaScript. This is sort of like in English. We also have rules that we follow called grammar. The difference is that in English, we don't have to follow the rules of grammar perfectly. People can still understand us. But in programming, we have to follow the rules of syntax exactly. Otherwise, the computer won't understand our code. For example, if we scroll down and we type this code, alert, open bracket, quote, hello, quote, close bracket, and semicolon, but this time we remove the first bracket and press enter, it will give us a syntax error. We're not following the rules of syntax, so the computer doesn't understand this code. Now, JavaScript has a lot of syntax rules, and we can't learn them all at once right now. Instead, we're going to learn the syntax rules one by one as we go through the course. For now, we'll just learn enough syntax to do the exercises at the end of this lesson. What we need to know is that if we scroll up, this part of the code tells the computer to create a pop-up. The text between these quotes is the text inside the pop-up. If we change this text, we can change the text inside the pop-up. Same thing for this code down here. If we change the text between the quotes, it will change the text that appears on the page. And that's all we need to know about JavaScript syntax for now. We'll learn exactly what the other characters like the brackets, quotes, and semicolon mean later on in this course. So in this lesson, we learned that JavaScript is basically giving instructions to a computer. We wrote our first few lines of JavaScript code. We learned how to run our code using the console in our web browser. And we learned about syntax, which are the rules that we have to follow when writing our code. Thanks for watching this course so far. If you want to support this channel, you can check out the premium version of my courses just like this one, where you can get a certificate of completion and a better learning platform. If you're interested in extra videos from me, more in-depth videos, and behind-the-scenes content, you can check out these links here. You can also support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing this video with others. Thanks again, and let's continue with the course. Here are some exercises you can try on your own to practice what we learned in this lesson. Now that we understand the basics of JavaScript, we're going to learn about each feature of the language. In this lesson, we're going to focus on numbers and math. First, we can close the console for now. So I've actually prepared a project that we can use for this lesson. To open this project,